So you're spending hours to study, but you're not getting the results. You're rereading your highlighted textbooks over and over, not getting the results. You're procrastinating, therefore not getting the results. You feel overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious because you're not managing your time properly. How do I know so sure that this probably resonates with you? It's because 80% of students these days still use rereading as their main way of studying, even though that science proved over and over that it's not effective. 75% of students call themselves a big procrastinator, and about 80 to 95% of students admit that they procrastinate. Next to that, the majority of students, they don't manage their time well or have never even followed a time management course or anything about that. So today I'm going to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes that students make and how to fix them. My name is Tom Vorsler, also known as The Study Coach, and we help students and adult learners, working professionals with science-backed learning, time management, and mindset methods to make sure that they can improve their academic and professional performance without sacrificing their mental and physical health. So let's dive into the 3 biggest mistakes people make and how you can solve them. All right, so the first problem that people have is they have a wrong state of mind. They often have a fixed state of mind compared to an open state of mind. A fixed state of mind can be something like, hey, I'm not smart enough, I can't learn this, this is too difficult, I've never learned this before. So therefore you're thinking that you are not able to get the results that you want. So when we look at the images here, it's very obvious. Fixed mindset, failure is the limit of my abilities. I'm not good at this. My abilities are unchanging. I don't like to be challenged, etc., etc. Without you knowing it, you are probably having some of these thoughts, which is completely fine. However, they are holding you back from actually tapping into full potential and reaching the goals that you want. The next thing is that people quit in the valley of despair in the emotional cycle of change. So if you've never seen this visual before, completely normal, because this is stuff they don't teach you at school. When we start something new, we are very optimistic. However, we are uninformed. So we're in that stage 1 that you can see there. After a certain period, so if time progresses, we start to become more informed, but we also become more pessimistic because we start to notice that the things that we actually want to do are going to be hard and they're going to be difficult. Then we end up in the valley of despair, here at the bottom, stage number 3. And this is where most people quit and they start to look for a new solution or their new spark. However, if you're never going to deal with the honest problems that are holding you back from moving forward again, you're never going to fix the problem. So let's say you need to do a retake, a first year of academics, because you haven't fixed your time management, learning methods, and procrastination yet. You're thinking, oh, let me do this studies, but you're not fixing the root cause. You're just trying to do something new without fixing the real problem. So this is where you have to push through and find better systems, get better at these systems, embrace an open state of mind, and keep moving forward such that you become more optimistic and informed, and you're going to reach success and fulfillment. After that, a lot of people struggle with their core beliefs paradigm, which is the internal story that you're telling yourself. So if the story that you've been telling yourself is negative, therefore you procrastinate and you're afraid. So I'll give you an example. If you failed an exam in the past, you're most likely thinking, hey, I'm not able to do this. This is way too overwhelming, too much material for me to cover. And therefore, you're afraid of the potential outcome and you're potentially feeling stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed. And what does our brain want to do? We want to feel good. So what are we going to do? Scroll on TikTok, check our messages, feel good about watching those videos, binge watching Netflix, anything to avoid that feeling that is confronting us, which is looking our fears into the eyes and saying, hey, I'm just going to do it anyway, regardless of how I feel. So what that looks like, there's a situation, what triggers the problem, then there's initial thoughts. So what was going through your mind, maybe indeed, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I will fail again, yada yada. They make you feel a certain way, and these feelings and thoughts, they are going to impact your behavior, and therefore often the behavior is avoidance and procrastination. So what was going on in your body sensations, they are going to probably feel tense, maybe you're like feeling stressed, and indeed you can feel your heart racing. So the only thing that your mind and your body want in that moment is like calming down. However, procrastination isn't fixing the problem again. All right, the second problem that a lot of students have is their time management. Majority of the students that I talk with have no calendar at all. They do not track their hours, they don't know where their time is going or where they spend that time. And why is this a problem? It means that you think you are super busy, but in fact, you're probably just not utilizing like half of the amount of time that you have, because in your mind, you just can't organize it. And this is the same like trying to solve a real difficult mathematical problem inside of your head. You have so many hours, 7 times 24 hours, that you can allocate towards certain activities, whether it's studies, free time, work, or extracurriculars. And if you're not doing that on pen and paper or like in a visual, then you just think that you're super overwhelmed and super busy because you're trying to solve this complex math problem in your head. So that leads to the next problem, which is often decision fatigue. People always think about what I need to do next. There's too many choices, therefore we feel overwhelmed, anxious, and tired. And guess what's happening again? We start to avoid this. So decision fatigue is very, very common, not only for students, but also for adults. It's too many things to think about, and therefore being exhausted with that thinking process and leading to poor decision making and not actually being able to prioritize correctly. After that, people start multitasking. They still think, I'm a great multitasker, so I can do this, which is not true. Because when you're multitasking and doing things at the same time, you're burning through brain fuel really fast, because the thing that you're doing is called task switching. Every time that you switch to a new task, your brain has to refocus and reorganize, which is going to deplete some brain energy. The result of this is that people are extremely tired at the end of the day, and they're not able to continue working on either their studies after a long day of work, or they're not able to continue study after a long day of study. Problem number 4 with time management is people that they make one schedule and then they don't complete it for 100%, and then they think this is not going to work. Again, fixed state of mind. It's not true. You have to embrace a growth state of mind to get better at time management. It's a skill. Just like learning how to ride a bicycle, you can't expect yourself that you can drive a bicycle right without your support wheels. And the support wheels in this case are me, friends, family, who can help you analyze your time management and see where you can make improvements. And you need to do this on a weekly basis. So when we work together with people, we always ask them each week, what do you want to start doing? What do you want to stop doing? What do you want to continue doing regarding their time management, to make sure that they analyze it. So to fix this, time blocking is the best solution. We have a complete video on our channel, so I will link it somewhere or create a screenshot about managing your time, being intentional with your time. It makes it easy to track it. It reduces decision fatigue. You have less procrastination and more efficient and effective studying. So therefore, if you're not time blocking yet, please start doing it. It looks something like this, right? This is a very simple example, but you start to plan your day in smaller blocks, including lunch breaks, including deep work, including meetings. Just make sure you don't like fill it up from 8 a.m. in the morning till like 10 p.m. in the evening, because then you're probably overwhelmed and you're not finishing everything. But get started at allocating time for important tasks. Learning methods. So this is one that's very big still. So research found that 80% of students still use rereading as their main way of studying, which is shown over and over to be a bad learning method. Knowledge retention is low and you're not getting the results that you want, even though you spend hours on rereading your highlighted summaries that look beautiful. Highlighting also not great. Rewatching recordings also not great, unless you're actively engaging with the material and you're using that new material to restudy your knowledge gaps. People don't take breaks, so they're studying for too long. Brain is overloaded. There's a limitation of your working memory that we call suffocation, which means that if you continue to work, you're literally like suffocating your working memory from being able to process information to the long-term memory. These are very simple terms, but I want you to understand this, that if you feel like you can't focus for longer than 20 to 30 minutes, then stick to that. If you can stretch it to 45, 50 minutes, stretch it to that. If you can do 90 minutes, great. But after 90 minutes, always try to aim for a quick 15-20 minute break. Next to that, because students have no proper time management skills, mistake number 2, they also usually don't have a review system. So they study one thing today and then they don't study it again until the exam is coming up, which leads to a huge pile of material that needs to be reviewed in a short amount of time. People start cramming, not getting the results that they want. With that approach, you risk that you forget about 80 to 90% of the material, which is of course not great, right? So you better have a review system. I will share a visual with you in a second, such that you know what that could look like. Next to that, students fall a lot in trap of recognition, like so much. Your brain basically is so well developed that it could see a piece of text or see an answer of a flashcard or an MCQ and be like, oh yeah, I recognize that. But recognizing something is completely different than actually learning something. So if you are answering flashcards basically based on short-term memory and like recognition, you're not learning the content. And therefore, even though that you spent hours on those flashcards, you might still not get the result that you want. Same with MCQs, like you're being able to answer them due to recognition. You recognize that this question always has this answer, which is great for like simple exams or simple tests. But if you really get difficult questions where you have to analyze, evaluate, and apply knowledge, you're going to get stuck. And that's because you're not aiming for recall and critical thinking, you're just aiming for recognition. So how we tackle that? We tackle that by active learning and repetition. Active recalling methods can be retrieval practice questions, simulation learning, teaching, whiteboard practice. We talked about something called Bloom's taxonomy the other day, which is different layers of learning, and with different learning methods, you can facilitate these processes. And you want to start adding something called spaced repetition, which looks like this. Again, if you look on our channel, we have a complete visual explaining this, this principle here, how you should approach it. It's like a 8 to 9 minute video, so go watch that if you want to learn more about that. And learning more about different active recalling strategies. We have a complete video on the Feynman technique. We have a complete video on the SQ3R method. We have a complete video on self-testing, how to use AI to improve your self-testing, etc. So if you want to learn more about these topics, then make sure to go to the channel and check out these specific videos such that you can tackle all of these problems. Now, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, please subscribe and watch the other content such that you know how you can implement these methods in your studies in this new academic year. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video. And before I forget, if you want to learn more about Bloom's taxonomy and the spaced repetition and the active recalling methods that I just shared before, watch this other video in which I discuss all of these visuals and you can learn from them right away.